we are going to make Blintzes, which are essentially crepes filled with cottage cheese. So to begin, we're going to make our batter for the crepes. Let's start with 4 eggs. Next, we need a cup of milk, a teaspoon of salt, and then we're going to add the cup of flour. This is where I decided that it's really best to use the beater because there's a tendency for the batter to form little tiny lumps with the flour, and the beater helps to alleviate that. I'll show you what I mean. So you can see there are still small lumps in the batter. Generally, they'll come out in the first crepe that you make. But I'm going to see if I can get a little. Okay, now you can see the difference, how pretty much all the lumps are gone. Now we're ready to start making the crepes. Off. So now that the batter is made, we're going to start with the crepes. I usually use a 7-inch skillet that is lightly buttered. I take a little bit of butter or margarine on a piece of paper toweling and lightly grease the pan. I do this before each crepe just to make sure that it doesn't stick. Now once the skillet reaches the proper temperature, we're going to add about 1/4 of a cup of batter. Here's my little measuring cup. And we just put it in the center and tip the pan. Now the pan's still a little cool, you can see, because the batter's not really sticking to the pan yet. As the skillet gets warmer, it'll coat the pan evenly. And you just keep rotating it until all the batter is evenly distributed. And then put it back on the heat and let it cook. When it begins to cook, it'll curl away from the sides of the pan and bubble from the bottom. That's how you'll know when it's ready to flip it out. When it's done, I flip it onto clean towel to cool, and we stack them until we're ready to use them. Now, can you see the little bubbles beginning to get on the bottom of the pan? So, it's almost ready to lift it off. See how it's coming? It'll come right away from the sides of the pan. If it doesn't, just tap it. There you go. There's our first crepe. Beautiful. So here we go again. We just pour in our batter. Now you'll see it'll stick differently this time because the pan is warm. I don't have too high a fire. Better to wait a while for them to cook than to have them cook too fast. But you can see the edges are already beginning to curl on this one. But we're just waiting till the top is dry and you begin to see little blisters on the bottom of the crepe. I can see them now. Can you see them? Beautiful. That's 2. Get down to the bottom of the batter now, so we're going to do the last few and then we'll talk about the filling. Now we're ready to make the filling. The important ingredient is dry cottage cheese. It's also called pot cheese, but you cannot make this dish with creamed cottage cheese. This may be a little hard to find, but it's worth it. The reason you need it is because the creamed cottage cheese, when you heat them up, it all leaks out of the crepe. This is what it looks like. It's used a lot for making pastries. So we have a pound of that, and to that we're going to add 2 egg yolks, a tablespoon of butter, 2 tablespoons of sugar. I'm going to start with 1 and taste it, and a teaspoon of salt. That's all there is to the filling, really. Just want to make it so that it's creamy and tasty. Just so that it holds together. Assembling our crepes now, but I wanted to tell you that I did add a half a tablespoon more of sugar to make a total of 1.5. So you put the filling on the cooked side of the crepe and kind of shape it out till it fills it nicely, leaving room on the ends to fold over. Fold the lengthwise first, then each end, and then roll it up. And there you go. We're going to get about 15 crepes today. Oh, these are the last 2 crepes. When we're done, we can cover these and keep them in the refrigerator until we're ready to serve them. And before serving them, we'll saute them in a little butter till they're golden on each side, and then serve them with sour cream, or some people like blueberry topping. There we are. Into the fridge. Lower the heat so that we can warm them slowly. We want them to heat all the way through and not get too brown on the outside. So keep it low and take your time. Let's take a peek. Oh yeah, just about perfect. I think I may have forgotten to mention to put a couple tablespoons of butter in the pan before you start sauteing them. Okay, another few minutes. I think they're done. Let's take a peek. Oh yeah. You can also tell that they're warm when the filling begins to feel soft. It gets kind of hard in the refrigerator and softens up when it gets warm. This is why you can't use creamed cottage cheese. The creamed cottage cheese will begin to leak out at this point all over your pan, and you just have one gooey mess. But we're good. So we can serve them up. There we go, with a dollop of sour cream. Yum. Dig in.